So hello everyone, welcome to TechSeppa. Now for this today's session we are going to look after how to launch a Windows server on AWS cloud. So this is just a few steps procedure for launching a Windows server. So before moving forward with the launch procedure, let me just brief you guys about a few of the key terminologies which are used on AWS. Like first thing is instance. So instance is nothing but a VM hosted on AWS cloud. So this is just a part of resource which will be hosted on AWS cloud actual hardware resources. Then the next one is the AMI. So AMI is nothing but an pre-installed image of an OS which is ready to host on an instance. So these Amazon machine images are tested and just ready to host on any instance type that you select. So what is instance type then? So instance type is nothing but the configuration of your server, whatever the server you are choosing. So the memory capacity, storage capacity, what are the graphics, CPUs you require, all the things are listed on the instance type page and we can choose from them. So let's just get started. So as we can see, this is a barely 6 to 7 or 8 steps procedure to launch an instance on AWS cloud. So without wasting any further moment, let's get started. So I'm logged into my account on AWS. So from the services tab, we'll just move to the compute and then we'll choose EC2. Now from this EC2 instances, we can get our dashboard. So basically this is the dashboard of AWS EC2, where we'll be getting all the required information like running instances, volumes, key pairs, how many security groups we have, snapshots, elastic IPs, how many load balances we have. Everything will be shown directly on the EC2 dashboard. So let's get started to install and launch an Windows instance. We'll click on launch instance. Now this is the first step where we'll be choosing the Amazon AMI, right? So we should go down and choose the Windows Server 2K12 Standard Edition 64-bit. Now this is the instance type page which we just talked about. So if you click on instance types, we can see that general purpose, compute optimized, GPU optimized, GPU compute, memory optimized, storage optimized. These are the categories we have from the AWS. So if we look at family, so this is general purpose family, the type is T2.micro, how many CPUs we got is 1, how many memory is 1 gig of memory. This is an EBS backed instance. So let's configure the instance details now. On this page we will be configuring few of the key parameters of the instance. Like let's say if you have an VPC created and you are launching this instance on the VPC, then you can choose your VPC from this tab. So if you choose the VPC, then you have to choose the according preferred subnet from this below tab, because every subnet is different. So for the communication with the other instances of your organization, you have to choose the correct subnet from this tab. So now we are just launching this instance on a default VPC which is provided from AWS. So we won't be giving any such preference here. We'll leave it as it is. Now then, auto assign of public IP. Whenever you are launching an instance on within a VPC, then you have to enable it, and by default this would be disabled when you choose an VPC. So as we are on the default VPC, we don't have to do much configuration thing here. Now as we are working on Windows, so domain join directory. Now if you have a directory available in your organization like Active Directory, then you can directly access the Active Directory from this tab. You need to configure it from the federated user in IAM. Then you can have the access from the access available in this tab. Then next one is the IAM role. If you want to access some specific AWS services from this instance, then you have to choose the IAM role from this tab. Like this one is the EC2 code deploy role, which I had created earlier for some of the practicals. So that is it for this instance configuration. Now let's add some storage. So the default storage assigned to this instance, as we are launching a Windows instance, so 30 GB of storage has been assigned. So you want to increase the storage, you can just increase it by providing the appropriate number. So 30 GB is enough right now, so I am not modifying it, but you can modify that from here. Also you can add a new volume, then you can give your preferred storage size here and just click on add, and it will be added. So we don't need any extra volume, so I'll just delete it. Now let's add tags. So tags are basically to categorize between the instances available on the account. So let's give a name to this instance. I'll be giving it a Windows test box. So let's configure the security group. Basically, to connect a Windows instance, we need the RDP protocol to be enabled and the RDP port number to be open, so that we can access to the instance. So the by default this port RDP is active, and we can have, like suppose you are going to run an IIS server from this instance, then you can have the HTTP protocol running. Just add the IP group which you want to whitelist from here, otherwise you can leave it as it is. Then well, for the moment we don't require any such extra ports to be enabled or whitelisted, so we will just review and launch the instance. So on the review page, whatever the configuration you have done so far are listed, and you can verify it from here. Now click on launch. Then basically AWS asks you for the key pairs. So key pairs are nothing but the security countermeasures which we will be using on PuTTY software or any authentication client for RDP. So there will require these key pairs to access the instances launched on AWS. So now the instance is about to launch. We will click on the instance ID, then we can see what is happening over the EC2 instance. So as we can see, the instance is been launched, and we are all set to get the instance access from this page. So let's just see what are the information available with the dashboard. So the first thing is Windows test. This is the name which came from the tags which we had given at the time of configuration. So instance ID is there, instance type is there, what is the availability zone of this instance, the state of the instance. Now the status checks. If we just refresh this one, there are no alarms set, and we can see that the public IP, private IP is also been assigned to this instance. Let's just log into the instance. Click on connect. Then now there are two ways to access the instance. First thing is we can download the remote desktop file and we can use any RDP client and provide this file to that particular client, and then we'll get the access. Otherwise you use this DNS provided here, use the username and get the password. So to get the password we have to provide the key pair path which we had selected on the last step of instance launch. So we'll just browse, go to our downloads, and then we'll see